Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Once again, maybe it's 10th time on the podcast. My hype man, my brother from another mother, Mr. Derek Green.
What's up? You can hear me, right?
Yeah. And then
I'm in the mix.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming here. I'm gonna fuck it up because I'm the worst at this. Matt Caughthran.
Caughthran, come on, man.
I suck at this.
It's Caughthran.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Caughthran. I suck at that. I'm really sorry.
I see you do.
My memory's the worst. Matt, singer from the Bronx.
Yes, sir.
Which I love the fucking
Singer
name
from
Bronx.
the Bronx.
Peace, Matt.
Wait a minute.
Caughthran. I said, what is that? Are you Irish? What are
Yeah, Irish and Welsh.
Irish.
Me too. I'm Irish Welsh too.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of percentage of my background there
Oh,
as
so you
well.
do 23andMe, right?
I did 23andMe, and I found that I had a bit of 12% coming from that area of the world.
That's legit, right
and
there.
I also have relatives with Caughthran last name.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the guest now.
Okay, sorry.
This isn't about us.
I was just trying to get so he can relate,
Welcome, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it very
nice
much,
to be
man.
Here, man. Nice to be
We
here.
met several times throughout the years, but it's good to have you here and hear your story.
Yeah.
Doing some research on you. Obviously, you're born in California.
Yes.
You want to like the first, maybe only guest that's actually born in California that had on the podcast.
That's not true, Toby. I would like to remind you that Will.i.am was born.
Okay. Respect Will.i.am. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Will.i.am and Matt. That's about it. Two people, right? They're born in California on the podcast.
Cut from the
Chino
same
wasn't
cloth.
born-
Will.i.am.
Chino wasn't-
Yes, Will.i.am.
Chino was born in Sacramento or no?
Oh, yeah. Chino was born in Sacramento.
Come on, Toby.
But, okay.
Sacramento doesn't count, man.
Sacramento
Yo, Chino listens every week. Sorry, Chino. Chino, there wasn't a diss on you. That was on... I didn't say that. Matt said that, Chino. He'll be listening. Peace.
Really can say because he's from Cali, He
California,
can diss your
yeah.
own state. Like I can diss Ohio as much as I want.
There you go.
So how was it growing up here? Like when you were a kid and stuff?
It was awesome, man. I grew up in Pico Rivera, which is like outskirts of East LA. It's a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was it's a little bit crazy here and there. I had like a neighbor who was like a shot caller for the Mexican mafia. That was wild, dude.
Wow.
Wild. But outside of that, it was pretty normal, man. I grew up next to like Bernie Elementary School, and it was cool growing up next to a school and skateboarding there and hanging out, doing all that stuff,
Yeah.
Did they give you a nickname in the neighborhood? Like, there's Blanco.
No, well, dude, okay, so...
Yo, Blanco!
All right, so the gangster family was the Murriettas, right?
Okay.
So there was the Murriettas, and then there was this kind of like white trash family a little bit called the Pipers, and they were neighbors. So it was like this classic like Murriettas versus the Pipers thing, and it just went down like year after year until finally the main Murrietta dude, Art Murrietta, he went crazy, like shot his wife.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
yeah, well, no, it was wild. It was wild.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he shot his wife, and then there was like a police standoff down the street, and he ended up capping himself, and that was the end of the deal. But that was the craziest
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean? It was for the most part normal LA neighborhood, but it was we were like the house on the corner next to the two feuding houses, so we saw it all. But we were cool. My dad was cool with everybody, so we never got fucked with or anything like that.
You got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got an older brother, older sister.
And how is it? Do you guys get into music? You guys in the same type of music? Were they into the same stuff as you?
I kind of got into music through my sister. She was like Sunset Strip girl. She's in the Bon Jovi Bad Medicine video.
Yeah.
So like hair metal and heavy metal was my shit growing up, and that was kind of like my gateway into punk. My brother though, he's got like notoriously terrible taste in music. He was like he was listening to all kinds of whack shit when I was growing up.
And how were you in school and stuff?
Pretty normal, man. I mean, I went to like the school district in Pico Rivera, like the public school at Rancho. My mom, my dad, they didn't want me going there, so they sent me to school in Whittier. So I went to Christian school, like private school, Whittier Christian, like growing up. And it was super cool. Obviously a lot of friends and, normal shit like that. But as I kind of like, started discovering my own identity and music and art and all that stuff. And especially at that time, you realize how like judgmental religion was. Like it was super, super gnarly, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Did you have uniforms at your school?
What's up?
Uniform at your school?
No uniforms,
Okay,
but it was like in order to graduate, you had to pass Bible. You know what I mean? So and it was like, and I had like Bible first period, and it was basically you'd get there, man, and you know, like in high school, you're fucking working at a pizza place all night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get like, you know, Bible's first period, so you're kind of snoozing. But it was like, there was just a lot. I just remember there being a lot of hate, man. You know, like a lot of like, these people are going to hell. These people are going to hell. These people are going to hell, but we're good.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And at that time, I was like, that was like kind of the first time I identified with like, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
So it taught me a lot that way. And, you know, of course, got great friends, you know, a bunch of friends that we used to go to punk shows and you know, started a high school band, all that good shit, man. But
there were people you were friends with still that you just you didn't believe in, you know, they could believe whatever.
No, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm all good that way.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't like the hypocrisy of religion and stuff like that. Judgment just kind of bums me out, you know?
I get it.
Talked about that last week's podcast,
Yeah,
actually.
yes, we did.
And we never talked about religion, but that came up, and we talked about it. I agree with you. So what was your like gateway into punk rock and stuff?
You know, probably just metal. You know, I mean, it was like I wasn't really like a skateboarder or anything like that. You know, I mean, I you know, fucked around with it, but it was all music, man. It was all music, discovering music, and it was like, you know, I started with kind of like the more kind of glam stuff, and then it's like I kind of discovered, you know, the more kind of like underground stuff, like, you know, got into Sonic Youth and, you know, got into Dinosaur Jr., got into stuff like that. And then that kind of like got me into, you know, when I discovered like the old LA punk bands, you know, bands like Fear and Circle Jerks and all that stuff, you know, that kind of set me off. And then obviously at that point, you know, I graduated in 97. So, you know, 94 through, you know, 90, I mean, those were some great years, man.
Oh yeah, great years for us in New York too. That's
you know what I mean? Yeah, you were popping off then, man. I mean, it was like I was going to shows all the time, you know. So it was just you know, it
magical.
It was a really, really cool time, man.
Yeah,
it's a great place to see shows out here.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, you know, it was a ton of great shows, obviously a ton of great bands, and then it was like, you know, basically, a couple buddies of mine in high school started this band, and they had this singer named like Scott that they weren't really feeling. And I was just kind of the guy that just hung out in the garage and was just kind of hanging, you know? So eventually they passed the mic to me and was like, you know, you want to sing? And I was like, yeah, cool. So that's kind of how I started there. And then, and it was so classic like Christian high school thing. Like me and my buddy Rudy, who was playing guitar in the band, we went to a party, right? And we ended up like getting drunk at the party, and then the band kicked us out the next day because we were like,
oh, they were like straight edge Christians.
Yeah. No, they weren't that like it wasn't really about like straight edge yet. Like you know what I mean? It was just like we weren't like on like the Christian tip that they were on.
Okay, right.
And so it was like,
okay, all right.
You know, it was like, okay, whatever. So that's how that ended up happening. That kind of set me on a different path. But you know, all things happen for a reason. So it's all good.
Absolutely.
And you graduated?
Yeah. So, well, you know, I graduated. It's a little tricky. So, you know, my senior year, you know, I was kind of, like I said, fed up with the whole, you know, religion thing. And I was at the height of my, you know, punk angst and all this shit. So I was pretty tuned out when it came to school, you know. So my grades sucked. You know, I was like, you know, not really paying attention. I was running with, you know, all the punk rockers and all the like dudes who were doing shady shit. So they were kind of looking to like get me out of the school, you know? And basically because I was failing Bible of all classes.
Bible.
They basically
that class is like studying the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so but it was like and at the time, you know, it was like they thought that I was doing some, you know, like they thought that me and a couple other like dudes were like selling drugs, which we weren't. But they had like called my mom and said, "Hey, your son's selling drugs."
Oh,
so my mom was like, no, he's not. Like, my mom's down, so she knows what's up.
Yeah.
They're
You
like,
know,
"Where's
so
the proof?"
yeah, so
Prove
then
it.
it was just hectic, man. And so it was like, all right, I'm out of here. So they, you know, it was like a frustrating thing because private school costs a lot, and
Yeah.
they took my money or my parents' money for 3.5 years and wouldn't let me graduate. So
Wow.
I had to go to continuation school, and then it was like,
Man.
I did that, and I was like, yeah, dude, it was amazing. I was like, I felt like a goddamn genius in that school. Like, it was like no disrespect, man, but I was just like, no way. Like, I couldn't believe the environment. It was like rad. It was, you know, so that happened. I graduated continuation school technically, but yeah, I got that diploma.
And what were your goals at the time?
None, dude. None. I had, you know, I was a lost kid in a lot of ways, you know,
Yeah.
not really in like a heavy, sad type of way, but I just had no real ambition or like drive to do anything other than, you know, listen to music, go to shows, hang out with my friends. You know, that was
Yeah.
it. You know, I didn't want to go to college. I was burnt on school. It's the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't have the grades to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so I was kind of just like, you know, I'm just going to fuck around for a couple years and then I'll get a job and,
Yeah.
you know.
Were you still in that school band when you guys?
Yeah. So
What was it called?
so the band was called Brotherhood of Death.
Sick.
And yeah, it was based on this B movie that's fucking awesome. But so that's how I met David Hidalgo and his brother Vince, that's crazy. So that my first girlfriend in high school was the cousin of David and Vince Hidalgo, whose dad is the singer in Los Lobos.
Oh shit.
So that like was a big moment for me musically, like meeting those guys and becoming friends with them. And then we started playing together. And then we started Brotherhood of Death, and then those are like the first, you know, real musicians I've ever been around, where it's just like in their DNA, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like those guys, they can pick up any instrument, it's beautiful, man. The gift that those guys have. So that was the first kind of like, okay, like I'm gonna kind of go down this road a little bit, and, you know, not necessarily completely focus on music because I was still just a total wild card, but you know, I'm gonna kind of give this the majority of my attention, type of thing, you know.
Yeah. And so, so you sang in that band.
Yeah, sang in that band, and then that band ended up turning into. Then I met Joby, who's a guitar player in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And that band, Brotherhood of Death, kind of turned into this other band called The Drips. That was me, Joby, and David Vincent. And we got pretty serious with that band and, like, you know, recorded some music and stuff like that, you know. And then, you know, basically after that, it was like Joby was getting more serious with everything. And then he met James and Jorma, who were the other, like, starting guys in the Bronx. And he was just kind of doing some different stuff, like writing some more angular music instead of just kind of more like The Drips was pretty like street punk, you know what I mean? And so Joby was just writing some different stuff, and he was like, "Hey, I'm going to start this thing with these guys, and I think you should sing." And so I went to rehearsal, and it was like classic. Like, it was the first time I'd ever like done music with people I didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
You know what I
relate to
mean?
that. Yeah.
So it was a little weird, but it was also the first time that like I felt like real kind of creative chemistry that you hear about, you know, like when bands come together, you know. I mean, that's
Totally.
what it's all about, you know.
Yeah.
So when it first happened, I knew it was something really special, and then honestly, we were off and running, man. It happened so quick. We were recording, we recorded 3 songs, and we had some awesome people that, like, you know, knew how to manipulate the music industry to make people, you know, go crazy. So we had like, you know, we were able to kind of take those 3 songs and string it around to the right people. And next dude was crazy. Before we, you know, had 6 songs, we had a record deal.
Wow.
Wow.
And who named the band and where'd that come from? Obviously, we know the Bronx, New York, but
Yeah. So Joby named the band because it was basically like a, you know, in the beginning, all we were trying to do was confuse people.
okay.
And we're big fans of juxtaposition, and there was a, you know, East Coast, West Coast rivalry. So, and the Bronx just sounds cool as fuck.
So cool.
You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, we're going to do that.
Yeah. Have you guys been to the Bronx since the band started?
Yeah. I mean, when we first came to New York, we thought we were going to get our asses kicked, man. Straight up. Straight up, like, you know, we did for sure, and we got nothing but love. So it was super cool. New York's always been good to us.
We got a mutual friend, Jake, too.
Oh yeah,
The best, dude.
yeah. Jake's the best, man.
Best human. So did you guys actually go to the Bronx as the Bronx?
Yeah. We
That's
did that.
dope.
We did that. We did. There was at one point we were supposed to do this contest like at Old Yankee Stadium, and it was
wow.
like, we ended up fucking it up. Everyone got wasted or something like that, and the contest winner got in a fight with his girlfriend, and
Jesus.
it was a mess. It was a mess.
Did people think you guys were from New York at first because of the name?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, all the time,
shit.
man.
Yeah,
Those
I
early
did
early
too.
press
You
days,
did, right?
people were so confused. But
But wait a minute.
Unless you guys won, it worked.
Yeah.
So who was the record deal with?
The record deal was with Island Def Jam.
Wow.
And it was like we put our first record out through Ferret, through New Jersey, and
Yeah, no,
Carl
Ferret, yeah.
and those dudes.
Yeah.
Awesome guys. But yeah, man, we got in like the end of that kind of like, you know, super early 2000s wave where I think, you know, labels were still kind of like anyone that like kind of remotely might have sounded like at the drive-in. They were just throwing record deals at them.
And
You
money,
remember that?
too.
You remember
Yeah,
that
and
shit?
real money too, man.
Yeah, dude, like bands
Right.
were getting signed for crazy money. And I was
Crazy
like, this
money.
band sucks. You know what I mean? It was like, but we
That was
got
2003 your record came out?
2003 first record.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got in just like on the kind of tail end of that like music industry, you know, like the old
That
school
wave.
way of like, you know, we're actually going to, you know, sign you to a record deal and take you. Now it's like, it's crazy now, but
So different now.
yeah, so different. But yeah, it was good, man. We got like, you know, I remember, I mean, we didn't get a lot of money, but we got, you know, it was like the most
enough.
chunk of change I had in my life, dude. I burned through it in like so quick, dude. I was just like, yeah, I was like dumbass too. I was like at Chili's buying everybody's drinks, you know, buying everybody drinks.
Chili's. Like, I got this round.
Yeah, I got this. But yeah, man, it was dope. And then, you know, it was off and running from there, man. We were just touring and going crazy.
Yeah, I love that the records have like no title. They're just self-titled, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was
It's
like,
interesting.
it's like laziness, but it's also like, you know, I mean, you know, sometimes with band stuff, it's like having the conversation with to like come to a like title that everyone in the band is like psyched on. It's just like, that's not a conversation we need to have. It's just the music on the record is what matters. So
Yeah,
it's all
I
good.
love that. Like all of them, like it's crazy, man.
And you're writing all the lyrics or
Yeah.
other? Okay.
Yeah. I read all the lyrics and yeah, basically I've been like I don't play guitar. I mean, I'm starting to play guitar, but I don't write songs in the band, anything like that. Those guys just shred at writing tunes. So I let them do the writing, and then I write lyrics and sing over it.
Yeah, I listened to a bunch, and because I've heard you guys before, but it's crazy. You're a West Coast band called the Bronx, but you really have your vocals and the sound reminds me of Bouncing Souls meet Sick of It All.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, I'm
So you had a big
fan
East
of
Coast
both.
growing up on
Yeah,
that?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's like both those bands for sure had an influence on me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like vocally, it's like, you know, for sure. And then like also, you know, I mean, there's a bunch, man. I mean, it's like Joey, like out of New York, you know, Joey Ramone. And then for, you know, what's crazy is Ray Capo had a big influence on me too. Like just his style.
Youth of Today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cause like I was a big fan of like, there's no one that sounds like this dude. Like he's like growling on the microphone and it's just like total, it's just like total wild style.
Yeah.
And I like, yeah. Like I back that.
Yeah, me too. I love
I
it.
back that type of shit, you know? So it was like, you know, cause then like Darby Crash and people like that are not necessarily, you know, the best singers, but they're one of a fucking kind, you know? And I like that shit.
Yeah, Ray's definitely one of a kind with his vocals.
No, there's no doubt about that.
100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Even just the crazy growls like, we can fucking change. Wow,
No, it's-
wow, all that.
Yeah, like
A
on
big
Take
influence.
a Stand when he's like, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the
But
fuck?
actually,
Nobody can do that.
nobody can do it, and seeing them in motion doing this, you know,
Live.
all over
Yeah.
the stage live, I was like, wow, that cemented for me. I was
Yeah.
like, this guy.
Like even Gorilla Biscuits in the early demos, the way his voice is cracking and all
Yeah,
that
it
stuff, I
is.
was like, dude, this is so sick. You know, it's like
Yeah.
just like people that just sound like themselves, and it's more about, you know, the performance and the energy of the music as a whole. You know, also the
Right.
lyrics too, but it's just about being swept away in it. I respect that. You know.
Yeah.
I love that with Faith No More. Like,
Yeah.
threw me in with Chuck Mosley. I was like, this
Dope.
guy is amazing.
Hell yeah.
Just his style.
Love
And
him,
even
man.
if it's like off or whatever, I always loved Chuck. Rest in peace, Chuck.
Yeah, he was great.
He was great, man.
It was a great album on that. So, did you guys have like a buzz and stuff? You started playing a lot of shows before you got that deal?
Yeah, I mean, dude, we did a thing where basically, we had like 3 songs and, labels were like showing interest and we would write back in like Morse code, or we wouldn't respond, or like we were just fucking with them, and it ended up being this thing where it just drove them crazy, so they just wanted the band more. So it was like,
Wow.
we literally had like
Some bidding wars.
yeah, dude.
Wow.
And it was like it worked. It worked. And shout out to Jonathan, Daniel, and Pablo for helping us out in the early days there, because they were the ones.
Pablo with Fishbone?
Yeah.
That's my dude,
Oh,
man.
wow.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Pablo
yeah.
Matheson?
Cool.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Known for years, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
he's the homie, man.
He's one of the good ones from the industry. 'Cause
Hell
he's
yeah.
actually a fan of the music and grew up on it in New York, dude. Like,
yeah.
he's legit.
Yeah, him and Jonathan
Pablo.
Daniel were the ones that guided us early as far as like, this is, they just knew how to manipulate the system, dude,
Yeah.
So, and it was super cool. So those guys kind of guided us, and we just got the opportunity to, because at that point, I mean, realistically, I mean, we hadn't even been like a band for like a year.
Wow.
And
That's
it was
crazy.
like, and we didn't really even know, like I knew Joby and I were friends, but I didn't know the other guys really that well. So we were like, and you know what I mean? And we were young
Yeah.
as fuck. So it was like we needed time to like really like to become a band, to like
Yeah.
tour and like just to kind of grow together that way. So, we got the opportunity to do that, and those guys were able to just kind of set us up on a path that, allowed us to just be ourselves and hit the road and make a bunch of mistakes and learn,
Yeah, so you guys, that record came out in 2003, the next one 2006, the next one 2000. You guys were making records and nonstop touring, huh?
Dude, nonstop. Like, it's like when the fucking pandemic hit, it was like the longest I've been home in like,
Us too, man.
yeah, like 15, 20 years,
Yeah.
something like that,
This guy's been trapped in America for a year,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah.
His whole band's in Brazil, and he's like, here.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a whole other thing. But, so growing up in Orange County, we were talking about that before, too.
It's an OC?
No.
No.
Pico's LA. So I
Pico.
moved.
Okay, my bad.
So basically,
LA
where Huntington Beach comes in is,
HB.
when I was growing up, my dad used to always take me up the 605 freeway to the beach on the weekends, and I always just loved the beach. You know what I
Me
mean?
too,
So
man.
when the band was, kicking off and everything just started getting crazy, being from LA and then being out on the road and coming back to LA, I had to like create some sort of like space for myself to like
Yeah.
exist outside of everything. So, I had some friends who were down at the beach. My brother lived down in Huntington. So I went down that way, and, I bounced around a couple different places and, but I've been there pretty much for like, at least I would say 12, 13 years, something
Yeah.
like that. You know what I mean?
And that's super different from LA to Orange County.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean because because you're born. At least I was brought up that like obviously LA's cool, Orange County's whack. You know what I mean? Like that's
Bottom
the,
line.
That's the way everyone looks at it. Is like
Yeah.
especially on the LA side.
Right.
And for the most part, it's true, man. For the most part, it's true. Like, especially back in, like, I don't know, like 90s or 2000s, it was very much like, there was like a strip mall vibe to it. It was just like a lot of
okay.
like, chain restaurants, chain stores, similar
Yeah.
things. It didn't have the culture that LA had.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was just kind of like this, other spot where people lived, and it just didn't really have an identity, or at least a cool one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, and Huntington's got history in the punk
Definitely.
scene, in the
Yeah,
punk world
man.
too, man. I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
Orange County does in general, but it's like, so when I got out to Huntington, I've always had, especially, I think this is the one thing LA has given me. I have the ability to kind of like
Adapt?
I adapt, but at the same time, I don't my feathers don't get ruffled by my environment, man. Like
Yeah.
if I'm living in a place where there's a bunch of like whack ass people, like I don't that doesn't affect me in a way that like that screws my life up. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and there's, we're going to get into this, I'm sure, but there's a lot of great people in Huntington too. Yeah. And I've always just been a fan of, California coastline is there's just no greater place, man. Great. So, so I went down there and kind of carved out a little spot, and, I live, right across from the beach, man. I got a record player. I got, it's all good, man.
You're chilling. More peaceful life. More chill life. Yeah, you're older.
Yeah,
now.
It's cool, man. And it's like, I don't know. I love it because, touring, we're so lucky to be able to experience all these different environments, man.
Totally.
You can go to New York, feel the city. Go to LA, feel the city. Go to Chicago, feel the city. Go to London. You can get it's never that far away where it's like, if I really am missing like some like downtown action or something, it's like I can go find it, man. It's all good.
It's true. We can live anywhere being in bands and traveling. Like, you live anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, depending on, your perspective.
What do you mean?
Well, I've always felt that I've lived in so many different places, and I can adapt to living in many places.
You're in Brazil 20 years. That's a huge...
Yeah. And the thing is, I found that I at times, like when you're touring, like you said, you need that space when you come back where it's completely opposite of what you've been on.
Yeah, man.
So a lot of times I'm very antisocial when I come back, where I'm like, I don't want to see anybody. I really want to be kind of like a hermit. And I felt that, this is good for me to clear my head. But I guess it's a balance, like I love having that, security as far as being away from people for some time. But I found that I really enjoy being around great people that are giving energy, like positive energy.
Totally.
Yeah.
That is something that's just like really gets me excited about being, having good friends or family. And I really missed that from being
in the pandemic last year.
Well, especially a pandemic,
you really
going on. But I found that it's really important for me to learn as well. Like, I like to learn from people. So I need to have that balance of environment where I have my own space, but at the same time I can be around people that are kind of, where we're reciprocal energy, now where it's just like, I've lived in places where it's just like, it can be super depressing, where it's just like draining, sucking the life out of you. Where you're like,
that's the flip side of beach cities, because it's like, and I go back and forth with that same trip a lot, because I'm always, it's funny. I like at least like once a year, I'm like, I'm moving back to LA, I'm over it. And because the thing is too, beach communities are so small, to where it's like, and as a creative person, as someone who's always in search of like inspiration and trying to be in tune with that, like it's like I've hit a wall there so many times where it's like, fuck, man, like there's only so much, there's only so many songs I can write, in this environment, or so many things I can feel, and I felt them all, like I felt them all, so, but honestly, it's that, like that type of energy is like, it kind of comes and goes, but I'd rather be grounded and be able to have, like, search out inspiration than search out for like a home, or like search out for like a new, you know what I mean? It's just a lot more to like uproot yourself to move to a place. And then honestly, sometimes I come up to LA, man, I'll be like, fuck this place, man. I'm so glad I moved out. Like, so it goes back and forth, man.
It's a love and hate relationship, right?
For sure.
So when the Bronx first, so we guys dropped the first album. And
you've never been on tour before, right? Sorry.
No, man, I'd never.
Wow,
I'd never, dude. Yeah, I'd never been like, I'd never been outside of California, played shows, like nothing, man. It was
how
like
old
the
were you
whole.
then?
I mean, I was probably like 21, 22, something like that.
So you get signed to a major, haven't gone on tour, and just.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
It was like, and at the time, like I was so just irresponsible and just wild. You know what I mean? Like, man, you look back and you're just like, oh my God. But
must have been wild.
But it was, I mean, man, it was a dream come true, dude. I mean, it was like at that point, the only thing ever in my life that had motivated me or just like made me want to do something outside of just existing was music. And it was like, and then, you know, as the more further along I got with singing, the more I fell in love with that too. And then it would just become this thing where I would just like somewhere around the second record, it dawned on me like, okay, like I got to take this seriously.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to blow it. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to lose it if I don't take this seriously, if I don't like start actually like, you know, caring about what I'm doing and caring about, you know, my voice and caring about my profession and not letting my bandmates down and all this stuff, you know, because I was just, I was lost for a while there and I didn't really, it was all about, you know, it was all about the kind of self-expression and the feeling of letting go with music for me more than it was with singing or any sort of technical aspect of it. So I was always just gone. And, you know, I had to kind of rein myself back a little bit and find some sort of balance of like being able to, you know, lose yourself in what you're doing in the music in the moment, but also like be responsible for like artistically what your job is. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like take it like you have to have pride in what you do, you know? It's like there's so many great singers that have come before you. Yeah. And it's like you can't do if you're gonna have the guts to be a professional musician, you have to like show respect to that world, you know. Totally, you can't just come in and just think you're the shit and just piss all over it. You know, it's like it's not. Were you kind of cool. Arrogant or no? No, I wasn't arrogant, man. I was just, you know, I just didn't really care, and I was super insecure. So I was drinking a lot on stage, like I was just out of control. Okay, you know what I mean? And so it was like, I have no real concept of you know, a good show was like, you know, me, you know, like jumping off something and cracking my head open. It wasn't me singing good or like the crowd or like the crowd having a good time or anything like that. you know what I mean? It's a good show. Yeah. So and you know, and you learn that you can do that. You know, it's like multiple things can be true at once. You do it all. Like you can do that. You can care about what you're doing. You can sing. You can jump off something, break your head open. It's all good. But still sound good. Yeah. But for me, it took me a long time to figure that out, man. It took me a really long time to figure that out. And I'm glad I did. But it's like, and that was honestly, I think, a big part of all of us kind of coming to that, you know, that kind of point in all of our lives as individuals and as a band, where it was like, okay, like, hey man, like we survived this first wave, or we just went out there and we had this record and, you know, we flipped our van, we did all this crazy shit where it's like, you know, it's like, and then we got, you know, the second record we did with Michael Beinhorn was like this crazy full on Island Def Jam, major label, like, you know, old school producer, build you down, break you back up, whole, you know what I mean? Like whole thing, like real deal experience, you know? We got through the end of that and it was like, okay, like it's on, you know? And then we got through that tour, and then it was like, we ended up, you know, splitting with Island Def Jam. And then it was like, we put out our third record. We got a studio in the Van Nuys. We fucking, you know, huddled together as just DIY dudes and put out our third record ourselves. And like, after that, honestly, it was just like, man, we can do anything. And then it's like, you know, once you have, I don't know, for me, it was all about like respecting what I was doing, respecting music, respecting my job, respecting my career. You got to do it, man. You got to do it. And you can find your own way to do it, you know, but it's like, in order to be, you know, sustainable, and in order to like, I don't know, for me, in order to be looked at as like anything real from the outside, you know, you gotta have respect for the craft, especially if you love it and that's what you want to do, and it's actually saving your life. Man, you know what I mean? That's your way, it's your therapy, it's everything, you know. Like, no, I love that. No doubt. So how was it hard getting off Island Def Jam? Was that, I mean, it was like, usually get you for like 8 albums. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. It was, I mean, hard, it was like, it was a cool thing where, you know, like, I think, you know, at that point, like on that, just going back to last wave. I think they were just kind of signing a bunch of bands, hoping something would hit. And if it didn't hit, like there was no real big deal with letting us go. It was totally
happened
cool.
to us too.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like it was all good. And luckily, you know, with Pablo and Jonathan, we had, you know, deals that weren't crazy or anything. I mean, it was always kind of like, hey, you know, the more you take, the more you're on the hook for. So just take what you need to make the record. You know, put a little cash in your pocket or whatever, and you know what I mean, and just go about it that way. So we were cool getting out of there.
It's awesome.
Then and then we
sometimes they own your ass,
dude. Yeah.
We were lucky because MCA it crumbled. Universal did some sort of deal, and then we got out too. We got to leave too as well. Our dude got us out, but we were like the wave too. Like they had Newfound Glory, they had Blink, like on MCA at the time. So they're trying to get a bunch of bands as well. So it's the exact same thing. Because sometimes I get those statements. It's like you owe the label like $300,000 or whatever from back then. The money they were giving you, it's fucking crazy how much money they were giving you.
Yeah.
So then you guys go independent, and who puts out that record, the third one?
We put it out ourselves on
Sick.
our. Yeah, we had our own. Like we started when the band started. We had this imprint, White Drugs, that we.
I saw that.
Yeah, that we just kind of put out anything, you know, just randomly related to the band.
That was on all your records, right? The imprint, right?
Yeah. So we did that, and we put it out that way, and it did actually really good, you know. And it's like it was super cool to feel that, and it's like to have like, okay, we got like a fair record, we got an indie record, we got a major label record, we put out our own record, and it was just like, you know, like I was saying, it just felt good, you know. But it was also like kind of it was a super stressful time, man, because we were broke as shit. You know what I mean? Like just super, super broke. Like we were, you know, living in the studio in the Valley. You know, our bass player Brad was, and it was all good, but it was kind of like, okay, like how are we gonna, like we did the record's out, but now what? You know, like how do we keep going? You know,
you guys working jobs in between those tours?
I did. I worked security at the Wiltern for a little while, you know, and that was cool. I did that, and you know, when I had to, and they were super cool. You know, that's you know, music community is great.
Is that Golden Voice or something?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was. I want to say it might have been the beginning of the early stages of Live Nation.
Oh, okay.
At some point, but
I think you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool, man, and I can kind of come and go do that as we were touring and stuff, and then, you know, after the third record, and we kind of went through that cycle, and we were just kind of like creatively, you know, we didn't really know what to do really, because as a band, we always kind of like, we were always trying to put ourselves in creative, like uncomfortable places creatively to push ourselves to just be different and write different songs, make different albums, do stuff like that. And we just kind of ran dry a little bit, and it was like it was just kind of a bummer, you know. And then it was like, what should we do? And we just decided to start a mariachi band.
I know, it's crazy, man. Yo, that Prince cover is amazing, man.
Thank you.
The Prince cover is amazing.
I haven't heard.
I watched it yesterday. It's fucking. I mean, yesterday. It's amazing, man.
Yeah. So we did.
That's a totally different fucking all new music, everything.
Dude, honestly, it was the. Like those first two El Bronx records are the most like genuine source of inspiration I've ever felt in my life. It was just like, because it was like, you know, I talk about like, you know, like growing up and, you know, you're listening to metal and then you discover punk and you're running with friends and you know, everyone's kind of started a band. If you look back on it, you know, you can kind of see, you can connect the dots, like how I ended up with a microphone singing in a punk band, but you can't connect the dots to how, you know, to how we started a mariachi group. So, you know, just throwing ourselves into that, into the instrumentation, into the rhythm, into the music, into the genre, like everything.
Such different lane. It's crazy.
Man. But it was crazy. It was like this thing that, like, it just felt, you know, because for me personally, writing wise and singing wise, I was so focused on like aggression and like anger and just like punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had this whole, I didn't even realize it, man. I had this whole other just like welled up source of emotions of like all the things that like had gone right in my life that I felt like I would be a pussy if I sang about it in a punk band.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had this whole other side of like, you know, appreciation and gratitude and stuff that when we started writing, you know, mariachi songs, dude, it just fucking just dumped out. Dude.
Yeah.
It was just so crazy, man. So we did, and it was great too, because, you know, everyone thought we were joking. Everyone thought we were taking the piss.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how did the fans?
People were thinking that we were going to, like, you know, piss on the culture and like that we were being racist and making fun of people and shit like that.
Wow.
And it was all this talk happening, dude. It was all this talk
before they heard shit. And it was like, meanwhile, you know, we're fucking working our asses off doing this music, and you know, we know that it's coming along. We're having all these crazy breakthroughs, and we're just, you know, we're with John Avila in San Gabriel, just in his garage, just cranking away on this stuff. Wow.
And we're putting this album together, man. And it's like, we just know that it's something special.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like when it came out, it was just like, it just felt so good. Just be like, just, man, like, fuck all these people.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then it was like,
how was the response?
Dude, it was huge, man. It was crazy. It was crazy because no one expected us to do something like that. But then it was also like this super, like, raw, just love of music thing that came through in that first record, especially, where it was just us just like falling in love with this new genre and style of music. And the songs were so simple, but they were so pure and just like, it was just dope, and you couldn't deny it.
Yeah,
you know, you could say it's not the greatest technical shit or whatever, but you couldn't say it was like fake, or you couldn't say that it didn't come from a place of like respect and love. And it was great, man. And then, dude, that shit took off, dude. That like, out of nowhere, that record like went nuts. And so we were like doing.
You put that out yourself?
We did. We put that one out ourselves, and then we released the vinyl through with John Reese at Swami.
Okay.
And then from that, we got signed to ATO Records, which was like, I mean, dude, it was like, and Red Light Management was like the most, like, I mean, just awesome people. But dude, it was like going from, okay, we're in this punk band, we don't really know what to do. we're making this fucking mariachi record, and then it was like the record does great. We make the second record, which was like, you know, we were figuring out what we were doing on the first one. The second one, we knew what the fuck we were doing, and we were on point.
Yeah.
And the second one came out, and it just, dude, I mean, we were on tour with Dave Matthews.
Damn.
We did Letterman, we did Leno, we did it all, dude. The record was huge, dude, and it was like,
that's crazy.
dude, yeah, it was nuts, dude. It was.
Were you playing with other mariachi bands as well?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
We did like a London thing, the Barbican, with, you know, all these mariachi bands coming in from Mexico.
How were they with you? Like, you guys?
They were down, dude, because they got it. They understood. They understood the respect, dude. You know, it's like it's all coming from a place of love and music and creativity, and it's like, you know, it's like, and honestly, I think the fact that I didn't try to sing in Spanish, you know, was a big thing, because that would have just came off so whack. You know what I mean? It's just like, it would have been terrible. And so it ended up just doing that, made it like, you know, an original thing that not a lot of, you know, there's other bands who have like tried to do or have done mariachi music, but there's like Calexico, and there's a couple different bands who have like taken on like basically like the song structure, the instrumentation, and applied it to what they do. You know what I mean? But there's no other band in the world that's a punk band and a mariachi band, and that does both. And it's like in that weird moment, man, we like carved out like our own unique spot that no one can ever take away from us.
It's amazing, you know? Man. And did you grow up with that kind of music in your neighborhood too?
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
And, you know, and it's like, you know, with growing up, you know, bringing it back to David and Vince, it's like growing up with those guys and having Los Lobos, you know, going to see Lobos, and that was a huge influence, you know, especially for me singing, because David Hidalgo is like one of my like vocal just icons, you know. His voice is just absolutely beautiful, you know, so there's so much soul and stuff that what he does. So that was the influence of having Vince in the band. You know, he was kind of the authenticator in the early days, because rhythmically, I mean, dude, it's not like punk. There's rules. There's rules to that music. There's rhythmic rules that you got to abide by. Otherwise, it's not good.
Yeah.
So it's like those guys, I mean, they work their asses off getting, the instrumentation and the strumming patterns and all that stuff to a point where it was legit. And, Vince plays the guitarone, the big old acoustic bass. And he just held it all together, man. And that was the glue. And then it was just from there, we just kept writing songs, dude.
And the Bronx fans were accepting of the
They were cool.
Mariachi?
Yeah, they were cool. I mean, there was
and
maybe...
You didn't play any Bronx songs, did you? Played
no,
brand new songs.
It was just all like,
cool.
Like, we're going to do this, record, and we're going to do this touring cycles as this band, and that's it. So we just flipped it. And, for the most part, Bronx fans, they got it. You know what I mean? It's like we got cool fans, man, so they got it. And they understood that we needed to kind of do something different. Yeah. And then, dude, we did a tour where we opened up for ourselves.
Wow.
So we had the El Bronx play. We did a full US tour, dude. It was insane. We did a full US tour with El Bronx opening and this band Violent Soho from Australia in the middle, and then Bronx headlined. And it was like, dude,
how was that singing every night twice?
Dude, I mean, now it'd be hell on earth, but but then, dude, I had it. It was all good because it, like, opposite way, it's tough, but it's almost like a vocal warm up in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was cool, man. We did the El Bronx thing, and it was like, it's such a good vibe. That music too, man. It puts smiles on everybody's faces, So it was a trip, man. It was cool. And then we ended up doing a third mariachi record, doing that, and then we just kind of switched back to Bronx and did Bronx 4, then 5, and now the 6 one's
coming out.
Coming out. Yeah.
Do you love both them equally?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just creatively, it's so rad just to know that you have an outlet for like every color of the rainbow.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, and it's cool because when you get a little burnout on one, you can just write or switch gears to the other, and
super cool to be able to do that, hop in and out of that.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
It's like different sides of you.
Yeah, it's a trip. We got fucking Charo suits and the whole fucking gig, man. It's all good.
Wow. And what are there differences between the fans that you have from?
Yeah, for sure.
Or did it change? Sure. Did you notice a change?
Well, Bronx fans are definitely down for El Bronx, but when El Bronx kind of hit on the second record and we started doing, like the Tonight shows and all that shit, and the record got bigger, that band kind of had like its own audience that had no clue who the fucking Bronx were.
Wow. Interesting. That's
you know what
amazing.
I mean? So yeah,
that's
so
actually very cool.
So we would, when we would do like things like open up for ourselves and stuff, it'd be like there'd be sometimes we go out and be like, the place would be fucking packed for El Bronx, and the Bronx would come on and be like, hey, there's not that many people out here.
Holy shit.
Like, we're the same people.
Yeah, but some people just didn't. They're not into like heavy music, man.
Right.
So El Bronx is bigger than the Bronx, you think?
Now it's probably pretty equal, but there was a good while that El Bronx was significantly bigger.
And what are the lyrics that you're writing for El Bronx?
It's just like it's a lot of it's a lot of love. It's a lot of like it's a lot of like family stuff.
Away from the punk aggression, like.
Yeah. It's like it's a lot of like.
It's more love, not anger and aggression.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. It's just it's a lot of joy and just there's some dark shit too, but it's like it's like more of like a like a storytelling type of thing. Like mariachis, they gotta tell a story.
I was gonna ask you about that.
You gotta almost be like a gunslinger in a way. It's like it's cool writing that way too. Because you can take something that you're feeling, whether it's like heartache or something like that, and you can kind of turn it into a story. Cool. So it's like that's not something that I ever thought to do in the Bronx. Right. You know what I mean? Like it was all about just kind of like in the Bronx, it was all about kind of like taking my own misery or my own just kind of like whatever's happening and kind of like coding it a little bit lyrically so you don't know exactly what it's about, and people can kind of like take
relate
a little
to
bit
it different ways.
Relate to it in different ways, you know, but but you're still connected to it personally because in there, the source of the song is something that you're connected to, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
So, you know, and in El Bronx, it's that way too, but it's more of a storytelling type of thing, you know?
It's like two different sides of him.
Yeah, it's
Jekyll
cool,
and Hyde or
man.
something.
It's cool. And it's like, there's, you know, like I said, there's just, it's really cool to like, to be able to like look back and like appreciate like work that you've done or like songs that you've written in a way that's like not like egotistical or anything like that, but just like, you know, that El Bronx stuff, man. Sometimes I listen back to it and I'm like, God damn, man, this is so good.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm proud of it.
Like,
Yeah.
You should be proud of it.
Yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of that, you know.
No band's ever done
band.
that. No punk band's ever done that. Flipped it and started another band like that.
Yeah. Not that I could.
Especially that genre too.
Right.
And for some people that don't know where he comes from, they know on this podcast that it makes sense for him because of neighborhood stuff and growing up where he did all that. You know what I mean? Different influences.
See.
Because you think it's just a punk band, but they think only punk bands listen to
I
punk
mean,
music.
Hispanic culture is neighborhood culture, man. It's like the, you know, family and all that shit, man. It means a lot, and that's something I learned, you know, growing up and just, you know, constantly being in that environment and having a lot of friends, you know, with big Mexican families and shit like that. It's a beautiful culture, man.
I watched some of your videos too a couple of days ago too, like the White Guilt one. You're dressed as a rabbit. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then History Strangers.
Yeah, Stranglers.
History Stranglers. I'm sorry, you're a baby. You gotta peek these videos. And then the other one is They Will Kill Us, and it's just a dude just singing the whole thing. Just a random guy walking. Did a friend of you guys or no?
No, it's okay. So, dude, great story about that video.
You gotta peep it.
I'm gonna peep it.
So, there's this dude named Mike Piccatelli who like he runs like that company Fucking Awesome with Jason Dill,
Yeah.
and he directed all three of those videos.
Okay.
Yeah. So the They Will Kill Us All video, he was like, I want
You're
this
gonna
to
peep it.
basically be, okay, like if you were watching the video with the sound off, like you would think it's a hip hop video.
Yeah.
So we got this rapper from Chicago, this dude Black Magic.
Derek, this is why I keep talking. Yeah.
And so it's basically the whole video, this black dude just rapping, big puffy jacket, you know, cruising down. We're in the video. He kicks our ass at some point, you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, we did when we were doing press, after that video came out, like there was a point and we were in Sweden and we were in England, and I was like sitting down there like, yeah, you know, it's Matt from the Bronx, you know, like festival press, you know what I mean? So I sit down and this guy's like, where's the singer from the Bronx? I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I'm like, dude, I'm right here. He's like, you're not black.
That's amazing. The video's sick. He's singing, man, he learned all those words too. He's professional.
Yeah, it was dope, man.
Is he an actor?
Yeah, no, he was a rapper from Chicago.
Oh, that's right. He said, I'm sorry.
Black Magic.
Yo, but he learned, everything's on point on there, man. So good.
But it was cool, man,
cool.
doing creative
That's a cool
shit like
Just
that,
fun
making
They're
videos,
super
dude.
fun. Yeah, man.
Now it's like videos are, dude. It's like it's a frustrating wormhole in the music video, dude. Because it's like,
are you working on a new one now for the new album?
yeah, we're doing a bunch of shit. So like the new record, man, we got it's a lot, but we're releasing it as like a singles collection in addition to like the traditional full length. So
Yeah.
like we're releasing basically a song a month from March all the way till the end of the year.
Dope.
And we have all these different artist collaborations. Like we worked with Estevan and
Awesome.
and Tim
What up,
Armstrong
Estevan?
and, you know, all those dudes,
Badasses.
Dabs Mila, different artists and stuff like that. So each song kind of has its own spotlight in a way.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm hyped on it, man. It's super cool. But we get to the point where like with music videos and like talking about Mike, dude, it's like back in the day, like those were dope. And like the music videos now, it's so frustrating because you can make the coolest fucking video and it's like no one's gonna give a fuck. Like it's, you know what I mean?
True.
Like it's gonna last. Like people watch it for like a week. You know what I mean? And you pull.
Unless you put on your IGTV or something.
Yeah, you're kind of just like I always get to the point with those videos where it's like, okay, like do we really want to go down this again? Do we really want to try this again, or do we just want to take this video budget and just put it in our pockets?
So Esteban's directing one?
Yeah, well, yeah, he's gonna Tim's directing one.
Sick.
Yeah, so
Love
Esteban.
you, Tim.
Esteban
Fucking
did
genius.
a 7-inch cover for us with
Dope.
band photo out in Hollywood. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool. I'm super hyped on it. It was good to kind of like when we started the band, we were, you know, kind of super like connected in artistically outside of music. You know, it was like aesthetically everything we did just really had to have a artistic feel to it. And, you know, we collaborated with a bunch of great people, and we kind of got away from that. The more self-sufficient we got, you know, sometimes you do that where it's like, that's kind of like one of the lessons I learned, like with the band stuff. It's like sometimes for us, we got so, especially when we were two bands, man, we got so wrapped up in our own world that like we kind of just like lost connection to like the scene, or like just different bands, or like people around us. Like we were so self-sufficient and so just working our asses off on our own thing
in your own lane.
Sometimes you look up, you know, sometimes, and you're just like, fuck, like why are we kind of out on this island, you know, where it's like, cause we've always been kind of the odd band out on in a lot of different ways. So, you know, it's nice to kind of get back into like collaborating with artists we love and friends we've made over the years and stuff like that, you know. Did
you record this during the pandemic?
Dude, no, before. So we did it. Oh, dude, yeah. So we recorded in 2019 with Joe Barisi in Pasadena, and felt good to do a record with Joe. He's the man, dude. He's,
you know what it is, Derek?
Yeah, I heard a lot about it.
Yeah, he did like a bunch of Queens of the Stone Age and Tool, and he's just like, you know, he's one of those dudes that, like, for me, it's such a foreign world to me, but he's like the tone god. You know what I mean? Like, you go into a studio, dude, and you've just never heard a guitar sound so good in your fucking life. You've just never heard, you know, everything just sounds absolutely insane. So, you know, it was great to finally work with him, and we did the record in Pasadena, and we were gonna put it out, obviously, last year, but
dang.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly, I'm stoked we waited, because it allowed us to, the whole opportunity to kind of come up with how we were going to release it, doing the singles campaign, doing all that stuff. And I felt so bad for bands that just like, dude, like they released a record right before it hit, dude. And it just like, it's brutal, man.
It happens to so many bands.
Dude, it happened to so many bands. And even some like that, you could tell they were just like, kind of like, they couldn't wait any longer. They were like, fuck it, we're putting the record out.
In 2020,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they did it, and certain ones had like a, you know, they hit good or whatever, but it's like it only like, that's it's so crazy to me now how it's just like, the attention span and the life cycle of a record is like, dude, I mean, it's like a month at best.
Yeah. Unless you're out there on tour,
you know what I mean?
Unless you're on tour in their face.
Yeah. Like, record, if you're touring, it's different, but it's like, you know. But as far as just like the actual like record side of the music industry and like just how things work nowadays, and the attention span is just crazy. But
yeah,
it's all good, man. It is what it is, you know. So you just got to find a creative solution, you know, and just you got to either adapt or, I don't know. I think adapting is important. You can't be like unless you're a super big ass band who's got just a insane following and, you know, allows you to be stuck in your ways. You know, you can do that, but it's like, you don't like, when we would tour, I'd always be like, okay, I would see certain bands and be like, I don't ever want to be like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't ever want to be like, just like, you know, either like pissing on the modern era or just like stuck to like one thing that you like can't ever get out of, or, you know, like that. So it's like we're trying, you know, it's tough though, man. You fall into that shit. Next thing you know, you're like an old rocker, you know.
When's the album coming out?
It comes out August 27th.
And what's it called? Does this one have a name?
No, it's Bronx 6.
Damn,
baby.
man. You know what? I saw the IG thing with the letters, and I thought it was called White Shadow. I was trying to spelling on it.
Singles White Shadow.
See?
Singles White Shadow.
Like, what's the album called? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the song that, you know, by the time this comes out, it'll be out, and we're stoked on that, man. It feels so good to finally. It was funny, man. We'd start doing like press and stuff for the record, and, you know, I've been just grinding on just life shit through this pandemic. So it's like, I felt so out of practice, dude. I was just like trying to do one-liners and shit, like, swipe up for Apple Music and all that stuff. And I was just struggling, man.
It is so hard.
Yeah.
So when this comes out, I'll probably drop this one next week, and this one, the record will be out. The song will be out, right?
Yeah. So we're off and running, man. So it feels good. It feels good to be getting back into music, and you know, I think we've kind of planned it out to where we're going to spend the year working the record, you know, and then we're not really planning on any touring until next year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's safe to say. I mean, I'm hoping Punk Rock Bowling's going to still go this year.
Me too,
I think
man.
Vegas has got it figured out.
Great lineup, man.
Yeah. So, I'm stoked to be a part of that. And I think that'll happen and that'll feel good.
Yeah. Great.
But outside of, a couple festivals, maybe getting the green light this year, I don't really think anything like we're used to is coming back.
What's the last show you played?
Alex's Bar in Long Beach. It's probably like January, end of January 2020, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a bunch. We had a shitload of touring lined up. We were about to go to Australia when pandemic hit and all that stuff. But it's all good, man. I mean, it could be so much worse. So many people have had, lost people.
I know.
And all that shit. So it's like I went through my whole, I'm an artist. I'm an artist. I'm home. I'm depressed. I went through that whole thing, man. But it's like I wiggled out of it. It could always be worse. So
100%.
It's cool.
Is there anything you learned during the pandemic about yourself, or something to change about yourself?
I mean, yeah, man. I've applied myself in a lot of different ways, man. I've put I think personal growth's been a pretty big thing for a lot of people.
Totally.
So it's like I've been putting in work, with my own just kind of mental health. And then it's like I started just a bunch of different projects. I'm hosting a podcast for Sailor Jerry. And
That's right.
Just doing like a bunch of different shit, man. I'm finally picked up the guitar, started learning that thing. And I've been taking care of my body and just fucking running and riding and just doing a bunch of shit, man. I used it. It was such a good, reset, albeit, forced, but for us, it was like the only way it could have honestly ever happened, because we were in that weird, it's like that weird hole where it's like the best thing you could do strategically is stop touring, but you can't afford it financially. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have to just go, and you have to try that, that you're doing shows and you're doing stuff differently to where it's not the people seeing the same show or doing the same thing over and over again. But we were touring so much. It was just like, man, it would just be great to just give the world a break from the Bronx for a second. You know what I mean? And usually that's when we would just switch to mariachi, but it's like we weren't in the headspace to do that. So, it was just like, it was good to take a break, man. Yeah. It was really the best thing for us. And, it was a good thing for me too, to just be kind of reset and do that. So I'm looking forward to getting back at it though.
Yeah. How'd the Sailor Jerry thing come about?
Dude, they just hit me up out of the blue, man. We've worked with them in the past.
It's cool.
Doing there's a lot of great people who work for that company, and my friend Dana, who does their publicity, she's like, hey, we're gonna kind of do a little bit of a reboot on this thing, and I want to do a podcast, and I want you to host it.
Sick.
And I was like, hell yeah, so that was cool. And I'm comfortable in front of a mic, man. I like doing. You
sound great
shit,
on the mic.
so
Yeah.
That's
How many episodes are out now? How many episodes are out?
We're 6. Six of them are out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Do you have someone doing your editing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get on that. Editing sucks. Bro.
You do it yourself?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah,
super DIY. Respect.
I'm doing it all right now, man. But yeah, it's all good.
Do you have any daily rituals? Are you a coffee guy?
Yeah, I'm a coffee guy.
Okay.
I'm a coffee guy. I do that. I try to do a little bit of meditation here and there.
Nice.
I try to run 10 miles a week is my minimum. Just if I can do that, I'm good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's crazy, man. The more work that gets stacked up, the more dude, those runs have just become dude, they're so important for me just to keep my head on straight, dude.
Sure, dude. Yeah, man.
It's just it feels so good. So that's cool.
You run on the beach?
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's a Cali shit. I love that, man.
Yeah.
Love that. Do you have any major regrets in your life?
Let's see. I mean, not really, man. I've made a lot of mistakes, but it's nothing to where it's it's all shit that's, just the path that I've been on, man. It's I wish I could have been, I wish I could have figured things out a little bit sooner. It's I learned a lot of lessons late, so, so I was but that was just, that's just the way that's just the way life has unfolded for me. So it's all good, man.
Are you a sober person or no?
No. I mean, I don't. I drink. I smoke weed. And every now and then I'll get a wild hair up my ass, and like I'll do like I used to do like a lot of acid and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, because I was a big I just like kind of losing control a little bit that way, and like I like I was never like a big like powder guy, anything like that. It was just all about kind of like hallucinogenics.
Nice. I think Derek's done that before, right?
I've heard about him.
Wait.
Yeah.
Your kid's not listening. So you've done acid before?
Yes. Yes.
It was awesome?
Yes.
Yes.
Was it awesome?
No. It was I don't know. It was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah,
I have to say.
yeah.
So I had to try it a few times
Yeah.
to make sure.
Yeah.
That this is not really for me so much. I was more of experimenting with mushrooms.
Wow.
Yeah, mushrooms
It's a
are
little more
like
natural.
you can control mushrooms for the most part.
For the most
you go off the deep end with anything, but it's like acid is kind of like, for the most part, mushrooms you can kind of you're somewhat in control, but there's a good chance with acid that you're not in control.
You're not coming back, going off the deep end.
Do you feel a difference in performing if you're sober on stage or not sober?
Yeah, well, I started like probably about two years ago. I stopped drinking before we played.
Wow.
And I just sang better, and the shows were just way better. So now it's
Wow,
like when we're on
that's
tour.
Yeah.
Like when we're on tour, I won't drink before we play, and then after the show, maybe I'll have like a beer or two, unless it's like a night off, and then I'll have a couple more. But
yeah,
it's just it just feels way better. And there was like a couple, you get like, if you've been accustomed to doing anything one way for a long time, you get that natural kind of anxiety, like, am I still gonna be good?
Yeah. Some people need like a shot to go on stage, so the nerves and stuff. I get it.
Yeah. But I was like, ever since I stopped doing that, it's been way better.
Yeah, do you get nervous going on stage, Derek, or no?
No, I get excited.
Yeah,
really anxious. But that whole drinking thing, I learned at a very young age. Thank God that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Drinking.
Yeah, nothing at all. Yeah, like
to go on stage, you mean?
Yeah, that's killing your voice.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have a voice if I kept that up, and also just the show isn't good. And once you see a video of yourself, that's the sure way of stopping any like crazy ideas you have in your head. Like just watch a video of yourself on stage. Yeah, and you can see like things like, ooh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those moments.
You did?
Yeah, there was. I always tell them one of my most embarrassing moments on stage was we were on tour with GBH and the Circle Jerks.
Wow,
it was early on.
That's ill.
Oh, dude, it was so sick. It was
like a dream. Yeah,
yeah, and we were all friends and just crushing it, and but this is still in my I didn't know what the fuck I was doing phase. You know what I mean? So, and I was still kind of doing, I was taking a lot of Xanax at the time. So I was like, I was in kind of like a, when you're doing that, you're kind of like, you're in this weird fog, man. You know what I mean? And it's just not cool. But I'd say at the time I didn't really know like how to like register it. And we played, I'll never forget, we played the House of Blues in Chicago. And we played, and dude, I'm on stage, and I'm like thinking, I'm just like goddamn Elvis, I'm just like, I think this is the best thing ever, And I get off stage, and the band's like looking at me, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? These guys are pissed off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And they're like, dude, I'm like, that was a great show, you guys. And they're just like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, what? They're like, dude, you were like 3 seconds behind like the entire show. Like I was on a delay, bro. I was behind, bro. I wasn't singing anywhere near in time, bro. Like I was all the way off for the entire show, just looking like a complete asshole. Holy shit. Yeah, dude. And then that was like, man, that was, I stopped that after that night, but it was,
damn, but delay pedal.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was the worst. And I doubled down that night. I was so embarrassed and humiliated. I got super fucked up, and ended up like Keith Morse was like throwing rocks at me in the alleyway. It was great.
Oh my God, dude. You know what's crazy for shit like that? Like if you forget the words or you think you have the worst show. Now, does the crowd notice that he was delayed? Or just the band knows? Like something like that?
No, I think it was pretty obvious from the band's reaction. I think it was pretty obvious that, it was, that right. I was just in a bad place.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. It took me so long. It's funny how you would think that being a singer, it shouldn't take you that long to figure out, like, like that you got to be like, your voice has got to be number one, but.
Yeah, but it seems you guys got thrown into it kind of like you never toured. You're brand new for a year. You get signed. Then you fucking make a record. Then you go on tour.
Yeah, nobody in your band had ever been on it.
Jorma had been. He was in a band called Death on Wednesday. That was like kind of like they were kind of popular in Orange County, and they'd play some shows with Social Distortion.
Okay,
I know the name.
Yeah, but outside of that, like no. And I was like, I came from that, like. That like chaos school of just like, like it was more like I was known for just kind of being crazy on stage. So I like for a long time, that's just kind of all
front man you were. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So for a long time, I was just like kind of just wrapped up in that in a way that, I couldn't really get out of, so it all kind of fed into that, drinking before shows, doing stuff like that. It all fed into the, the kind of, punk rock mess on stage type of thing, which, it is what it is. And I think if it works for a little bit, but it doesn't last forever, man.
Yeah.
I think what you were saying about respecting your craft has a lot to do once that comes into your mind.
And the fans too. If they
and
yourself,
yourself, man. Yeah. Like I was just like, it was all three of those things, It was just like, okay, like it's just, like you said, you take a look at yourself, or you see some video, or you like you have those fucking shows where you're, where you're doing the grind, where you're traveling all night, where you're playing a festival at 1 PM, and you've been flying, and then it's just like you're trying to force yourself to drink beers because that's like what makes you feel like normal. You know what I mean? Like that's what you think you have to do. Mm-hmm. So it's just like that whole thing just kind of got, I just got burnt out on it, luckily, and I was able to kind of get past it. So
yeah, you seem like you're in a good place for sure.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you consider yourself like an optimist or a pessimist?
Oh, optimist, man, big time.
I can tell.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like there's so much to be grateful for in this life, and especially, I mean, just the three of us sitting here, man. I mean, we're musicians. We got to fucking hang out and talk and do shit like that, and it's like it's beautiful, man. It's cool. So it's like I appreciate everything I got, man.
It's awesome. Do you have any major influences? Like a top 5 or anything, or
I mean, yeah,
you're a hip hop head too, right?
I mean, a little bit, yeah. Like I was, mostly West Coast shit. I saw you posted about Nas the other day. That record is Illmatic is, it's
can't deny it, bro.
You can't deny it. You can't deny it. But yeah, I'm
like what kind of West
I'm
Coast
hardcore Tupac over Biggie though. I'm not.
Wow.
Not a Biggie fan. I look at
not a Biggie fan.
No, man. I look. I that's
nothing like no Biggie song.
That's
like,
the Source Award shit, dude. That when that shit went down, it was like that's how we felt. It was like that was it. It was like I just I don't like Puffy, man. I just
Did you watch the new Biggie doc?
I did.
Dope,
and it was good.
It was really good.
Right,
it was really good. I mean, yeah.
He knows he's talented. But
I can. Yeah, of course, I can respect the talent, but I'm just not really a fan.
Okay.
It's
I got you.
And then, it's like when Wu-Tang hit, man, that was dope. But it's like I love. I'll always love Dre. I'll always love Snoop.
Best man.
Always love Cube.
Yeah.
How
about like Exhibit or Far Side or?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. But for like a lot of those records, it's on more of like song by song basis for me. Like Far Side, stuff like that, where it's like there's certain songs, of course, that just hit, but. When it comes like that, the first Dre record, man, was incredible, just so, man. Oh my God.
We felt on the East Coast too. That was fucking incredible, man.
So good. And Snoop, and just like, I got so much love for Snoop, dude, just like who he is as a person. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? When you think about like, when you think about when Doggy Style came out,
Dude.
you know what I mean? And like everything that he, like where he's at today and
It's
like all that crazy
man.
shit, man. It's so dope, dude.
And he's so fun and positive, like on social media. He's funny.
Dude.
He's just like a lovable character now.
Yeah.
Like, he's been through a lot of shit though, for sure.
Yeah, man. I got a lot of respect for Snoop. He's probably my favorite, man.
What about like West Side Connection?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Dub C.
Yeah.
Too Short.
Too Short's my shit.
Great.
You fuck with Too Short?
That's my shit. I love Too Short.
Too Short's great.
That was like the first West Coast shit that rang true to me. I was like,
oh, the Too Short shit?
Too Short shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
It rang true to you, live in Cleveland?
Yeah. I
Wow.
was like, I love Too Short. Like my friends and I would just like play pool, listen to Too Short.
Even like, I love Kendrick, man. He's like a newer cat.
Yeah, Kendrick's dope, man. Kendrick's dope. I like Kendrick a lot.
Oh,
he's super cool. Where is he? What's he working on right now? He's been
something new, man. It's been a couple years. We need
he's
something
gotta
bad. That I fuck with the Game. Great West Coast.
Yeah, the Game's dope, man. Game's sick.
Trying some other West Coast shit. People. Oh, Cypress Hill, man.
Yeah, you know, dude. You know what? I get down with Cypress Hill, man. I do. I
fucking love them, man. The record's 30 years old this year, man.
30
It's crazy, man.
They're excellent, man. They're fucking.
Yeah, that's some shit I can seriously put on.
Still
and just vibe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so unique. It's just so weird, you know?
For back then, even his voice, everything about it, what they were singing about, everything was so, the beats and everything was so original.
Dude, I got that fucking CD. Do you guys remember the Columbia House shit where you used to like,
of course, I do.
like duct tape a penny to like the TV guide or whatever, and somehow you got like 10 CDs later.
Yeah. Crazy.
You know?
I got a bunch of cassette tapes.
How'd they stay in business for so long?
I don't know either, but I got so much stuff. I was like, is this? I just like something must be going. I don't know. This doesn't seem right.
That's how I got the what was the big record? Or something Sunday or not the
Black Sunday?
Yeah. That's how
great
I got
fucking.
that.
That was a dark album, but it's so good, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Just the beats and the bass line, everything about it. It's like a punk vibe, like a hardcore vibe to it.
Yeah.
Booyah Tribe, bro.
Yeah.
Booyah
Tribe's legit, dude.
Booyah Tribe. There's so many.
Oh, dude, can't forget about the OG
Ice-T.
Ice-T.
Oh yeah, man. Ice-T.
Can't forget about that.
Maybe
dude.
it was either Ice-T.
Who just got a Grammy.
Short.
Just got a Grammy.
Dude, I was tripping on that. Do you remember? So, because when Body Count first came out, dude, I mean, I was all over that shit because I was just like, you know, I was big into that whole like parental advisory, Tipper Gore, free speech,
right.
when all that shit was popping off. It was a big deal, man, and it was like, and it was so true about like, it was just like if you had that sticker on your album, it was like a stamp
legit.
of approval.
Yeah.
It's like so
I'm
legit.
definitely getting it now.
Yeah, and so yeah, and dude, when I first heard that record, dude, I was just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
'Cause it was like there's moments of it like that are like almost like bad musically. You know, where it's like, but it's like, it's just, it's just a fucking classic. And I saw him, dude, when I saw him on Arsenio Hall, he came out on Arsenio Hall and did There Goes the Neighborhood. Dude, it was on, dude. I was just like, fuck, yes.
Yeah. The original Gangster record was incredible too, man.
Yeah.
Did you fuck any Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul?
Yeah. De La Soul, big time. That
Gangstar.
Judgment Night soundtrack was a big one, man. That Judgment Night soundtrack was huge. The
that's right. All
they did. De La Soul did that. I think it was Fallen with Teenage Fan Club.
Yeah.
That song is dope.
That's right. The Judgment Night that connected so many.
Oh, dude, that soundtrack that's got Booyah Tribe on it.
It does.
It's got
Faith No More.
Yeah,
House
Faith
of
No
Pain.
More.
It's got Helmets on there.
Biohazard might be on there.
Yeah.
Onyx.
Yeah.
Onyx was a connector too back then for their both sides.
No doubt.
Of the hardcore and then the hip hop, especially in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You have any more questions for this man?
When you guys tour a new album,
yes,
do you play a lot of the new songs? Like, what's the percentage?
It's so hard doing that shit.
Because I know.
Yeah, I mean, usually we'll play. I would say 50%, maybe.
Okay. Wow, that's respect.
Good.
I used to like put a couple in there and sprinkle them in there, but the crowd just stands there and like the song.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, we would sprinkle them in there, but now,
great.
I
Wow.
mean, 50%.
Yeah. I mean,
sense.
probably 50%. You know, we've always tried to do that shit. We get to a point where it's like, but it's crazy, dude. It's like there's so many. The amount of times we said, okay, we're changing the set list or we're doing it. It was just like we still end up playing. You still want to play those songs that everyone wants to hear or that like you just love playing. But I would love to kind of do a deep dive into our discography and unearth some songs that we never really play. You know,
that'd be sick, man. Yeah.
But that always adds up to more rehearsal, man, and no one likes rehearsal.
You got those deep cuts, those super deep cuts on the record.
Yeah, the rehearsal time.
And then playing the stuff that they like to really.
I know. I always want to tell, like, when kids are like, "So, what do you suggest that you do, to keep going in a band? And, and how do you get better?" And it's like, rehearse. And I don't want to be a hypocrite and be like, because everyone hates.
I hate. I don't know why.
I don't mind it, but it can be a grind for sure, man. But it's like we've always rehearsed like fucking crazy.
Right.
I
mean, rehearsing new songs is something different. I think, but to go over like old songs it's like, really, we really need to do this? Or do we really want to do this?
Yeah.
Because on stage, once you play it that one time, like first show, you're like,
it goes from like, hey, we got a tour coming up. It's like we're gonna rehearse like 2 weeks out, man. We're gonna go, and then before you know it, it's like, we can rehearse at sound check. First show.
So
like,
true,
it's all good.
Now we learned like that.
Nobody wants to do it, man. It's hard.
Nobody does, but when you do it, it definitely has a big impact. I mean,
you gotta fly to Brazil to practice, right?
Yeah, and it's new songs. We will definitely rehearse. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult, to do newer songs. But I mean, with the old shit, there's certain things that you just play once. You're like, oh yeah, I remember it.
It's like riding a bicycle.
You never want to like. Yeah, you gotta like figure out like new transitions and stuff too in between songs. It's important
because I asked like with the new songs. I know in the past few albums, we just decided like let's just play more new songs.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah,
it makes sense because you're promoting the album, and it just makes sense that you would play those songs from the album.
And you're kind of like when you get to a certain point where it's like you've been playing for a while. You're like looking at it, you're like, okay, like I know like. A lot of these people here have seen us at least once, maybe fucking 10 times.
Yeah.
They're going to be okay if we don't play that song.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to be all right. Yeah.
They're going to survive.
And actually, I realize it's like people, they're happy to see you do new stuff, even though it's not everyone, like, they don't know it immediately.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, okay, I heard some new stuff. Like when I go see shows, I like to see bands play stuff from the new album, especially if I'm hyped on it.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm like, yo, I just got this. I might, not be doing a stage dive or anything like that, but I want to hear it, I want to hear that shit.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely.
How many years of Bronx now? Like 17, 18 years?
Well, we're coming up 22. Next year will be 20 for us.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, which
Hey, you
is
together before the first record. That's my bad. Yeah. 20 years. That's awesome, man.
Technically, I guess going by the first record, it'll be 23, but still insane, man. I mean,
that's amazing.
Awesome.
Can't believe it. Just for the type of band that we are, man. We're pretty self-sufficient. We're not like crazy big or anything like that, but we just love what we do and we work hard, and we're able to keep it going.
Yeah, that's the key to your longevity. You think you guys are all friends and
been
through a lot of shit together, family.
Yeah, we can we can have. We can have all the conversations, man. We can talk as like adults. We can talk as men. Mm-hmm. We can talk, creatively. It's like no one's like taking shit personally or anything like that. And it's like everyone works hard and contributes. And honestly, the main thing is we still just love it, man.
Yeah,
it's like
that's the most important part.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep a band together for a long time, especially 20 years. That's no joke. People think it's easy, but it's like so many different personalities and all kinds of things,
Yeah. And it's going to be crazy when things go back. I wonder.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting.
It's going to be a busy ass year next year. Everybody's going to be touring on top of each other, man.
I feel bad for booking agents right now, man. It's got to look like.
And I'm happy for them too. They've been sitting around for a whole fucking year.
Like those detective shows where they got like yarn on the fucking wall, like all this shit.
Yeah. There's going to be shows every single night in every fucking city. All connected to shows.
Agents got to be losing their minds.
Like, can we go back to lockdown again?
Yeah.
But it's going to be bands like 7 days a week, dude, in different cities,
about
man.
it.
It's
like
gonna be
every
fucking...
night you'll be able to see something. I guarantee it.
Yeah. As long as people are psyched to get back out and do,
I think so. We'll see. It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be like, I think there's a lot of people who, who are going to be sketched out. I think there's a lot of people who aren't going to give a fuck.
I know.
I think there's a lot of, it's like, it's weird, It's weird. And it's like now that like, you know, live streams are pretty accepted. You know, certain bands are like doing, you know, like we did one, you did one, you can do these things. And it's like, you know, you play one show, the whole world can watch. You make some money. And it's like, for a lot of bands I know that don't like touring, I'm like, these guys are never going back out. these guys are going to live stream for the next 20 years.
I think that can continue too. Even when things open up, I think those will still continue.
Oh yeah, they're not going anywhere, man. They're
for people overseas and stuff like that, do special like we'll play this album.
It's a great option.
I think it's really smart, man.
It's cool creatively too, because you can kind of like, you know, you can approach it differently. Like at least for us, like we did. You know, we pre-recorded it so we could kind of like, for us, it was the first time we did both bands together, like Bronx song, El Bronx song, Bronx song, El Bronx song. So we made like all these transitions and like, you know, we recorded it and just filmed it. And it was like taking a creative approach to like the movie aspect of it. And like doing something like a cool project that way. It was a lot of fun, man. It was cool, you know? So I could definitely see that sticking around doing like, you know, like a holiday live stream or something like that, you know.
I think bands are still doing that. I saw that New Found Glory announcement this year again, like doing a holiday thing or something. Yeah.
People are getting used to sitting on their couch watching music, man.
It's not good. It's a comfortable environment at home, you know.
I just think for the music that we're like the hardcore punk, metal, whatever world that we're in, I think those kind of are the people that listen to our bands, I think they're going to go off. I think they're less... Because they're not. When we talk about like, oh, Live Nation's open up all these outdoor arena shows, and this is a bigger world away from the world we're in. I'm sorry, Sepultura is bigger than us, but I'm just saying like the hardcore kids are hyped. I think just ready to go fucking. I know.
I mean, you know, and there's a history to protect, man. I mean, you can't let shows die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't let punk shows die. You can't let hardcore shows die. Like no way. Like there's gonna be people who are gonna come out. You know.
Yeah.
And gonna step up. So it's like I know that'll happen. It's just gonna be a weird process, you know, but it'll get back.
Yeah, I think just stepping in, it's either going to be like socially distanced completely or totally opposite, you know, or mask or no mask, who knows? You know what I mean? It depends where you're at, you know, and the different cities, right?
Yeah. They'll have certain guidelines, you know.
Do you have any shows booked for 2021 right now?
Yeah, I mean, we have November, December in Europe, and hopefully it will happen.
Is that with Sacred Reich?
Sacred Reich and Crowbar.
Sick.
Hell yeah.
So hopefully it will happen November, December. We shall see.
Yeah, well, we made it through the pandemic, and you know we're here.
Made it. Did you guys get vaccinated? Are you getting it?
We haven't got it yet.
We're just talking about that.
You got yours already?
No, I mean I'm going to. I don't necessarily, you know.
I'm not in a hurry. I want my mom to get it. I want people to get it first.
Yeah. I know a bunch of people who
we're gonna need to go to Europe. We're gonna have to have like a passport vaccine to travel.
You're gonna
for sure.
have to.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to. But yeah, I'm not.
We've been talking about a lot like the last couple of days because all of our friends, my whole band's got it already.
Yeah.
So many people got it. It's coming, but it's like I'm not in a rush. I'm not going anywhere right now. But I do get it. We're gonna need it to like herd immunity and make the planet heal and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a rush, you know what I'm saying?
It's the same.
But if I get to, if like, oh, you're going to go to Europe with the Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to, you're going to have to travel, which makes sense, you know, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just.
I haven't got one since the measles and mumps since I was a kid, man.
Yeah.
I never got a flu vaccine, so.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we're living in a time when something like that.
You guys are living on the edge.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I'm just saying, I know. It's such a tricky subject, too.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, maybe not. Some people, for some people it is, but yeah,
it's not tricky. I'm not anti in any way.
Me either.
I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm not necessarily super excited just to put some shit like that in my body though.
Me either.
You know, I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know.
You survived this long on this planet without one.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You know, that's the thing.
I'm
50 years old.
You're 50. You survived this far so
haven't
long,
got it yet,
and then you haven't gotten yet.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Then that one day where you're like,
I know.
damn it, like, what the? I survived this long and I got it now.
I know.
It's you'll probably get it like right before your like biggest tour is supposed to start or something. You know, you're like,
My mom's just super stressed about the COVID, so once she's all good, I'll feel good. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like.
I hear you.
I mean, we can go to CVS. You know, there's so many opportunities right now, but
there's
so many different. There's 3 different ones too. It's like,
and they're coming out with the 4th one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
It's too many.
It's a lot.
It's too many to choose from.
It's too many. And there was like, I think that The Johnson & Johnson one's like 65% or something like that. So
but it's a one banger, you get it once. So like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean it's
the two bangers the way to go from what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, yo, Matt, thank you so much for being here. I learned so much about you. Man. I fucking appreciate everything you've done on music. I appreciate you as a person, your story. I appreciate you sharing it, being here with me and D-Block.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And so the new song will be out by the time this drops next Monday.
Yeah, new song, new record out August 27th. Yeah.
And where can people find you?
They can find me at 213MattMan on Instagram, and then Bronxovision on Instagram, thebronx.com with 3 X's. Yeah, I mean, you can just Google Bronx Band and you can navigate your way around.
You find this guy. You find
the Bronx. The Bronx.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the Bronx listening too, if you're tuning in as well. Thank you, brother.
Right on, man. Thank you.
That was awesome. Hey guys, thanks for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to this podcast, please do that. And whatever platform you are listening to this on, I'm glad you found me. You can rate me and review me on there also. So thank you guys sincerely for the support. I cannot wait for you guys to hear the next one.